So before investing in any technology, right, not just emerging technology, it's important to have that understanding of the business problem you're trying to solve and how the technology can help. And start by identifying a specific pain point or an opportunity in your business and explore how these technologies can help address that. And then build a cross-functional team, right? Successful adoption and implementation of any technology requires collaboration across different departments and functions within the organization. So build a cross-functional team that includes representatives from all the different departments, maybe operations or finance or executives, other areas that are important to look that business, that's important for the business to ensure that everyone is actually aligned or on the same page. Right?
Hello everyone, welcome to a new brand episode of Engatica's interview series. I'm your host Anvis, and we are really glad to have you join us today for an exciting talk. And we have with us Aruna Kolluru, who is the Chief Technologist of AI at Dell Technologies. And she is kind of agreed to spend some time with us and talk about the future technologies that enterprises can use to solve some of the biggest challenges they are facing today. Welcome, Aruna, to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Anvesh.
Okay, so this Engatica series that we have been running it for some time. It's a powerhouse of insights that we get from industry leaders and influencers in emerging technologies around the world. And it's a platform where we provide the latest news and information on AI, automation, and any other newer technologies which are around AI and automation, and provide the expertise and knowledge from experts to people who are interested to help grow their business using this technology. So I would encourage all of you to join our community and continue to learn and share and grow with us. So I'll get started, Aruna, and since you are kind of heading the AI technology division of Dell, I would start off by asking, from your experience, what are the most significant challenges that businesses are facing today when they're adopting newer technologies, and how do you help them to overcome these challenges?
So that's a great question. So adopting new technologies can be a game changer for businesses, right? But it also comes with its fair share of challenges. So first and foremost, I would say is starting without a business use case. One of the biggest mistakes businesses actually make is when adopting new technologies is actually starting without like a clear objective of what they want to do with it. This can lead to lack of direction, confusion, and ultimately wasting all the resources and being disappointed with the technology. So to overcome this challenge, it's important to start identifying the business objectives and how the new technology can help achieve their business objectives. And a clear understanding of business goals will actually help guide the technology adoption process and also ensure that they're actually implementing the right technology for the right reasons. At the end of the day, technology is just an enabler, not the end goal. And then the multiple challenges, right? Like I'll touch on a couple of them. And then looking into it at a very narrow lens, right? Business often, again, make this mistake of looking at technology adoption with a narrow focus, only considering how it can impact a single department or a process. So, but the technology adoption of any new technology can actually have ripple effects across the entire organization. It's essentially, it's very essential to consider how the new technology will impact the entire organization and not just a single department or process. Again, this can be done involving key stakeholders across the organization in the decision-making process and ensuring everyone is on the board with the adoption of this new technology. Another obstacle I can think of is lack of skills, right? Implementing new technology often requires new skills, and not having the right people with the real expertise in that area, which can really, again, delay or make the process really slow for the adoption. So it's very essential, again, to identify the skills required to adopt this new technology, fill any gaps that exist in the organization. This can be like done by hiring new staff or upskilling the existing employees, but it's important to invest in invest in understanding what are the gaps and how to fill them. And the last one I would say is actually integration with the existing systems, right? And this is again another biggest challenge businesses face. So it's important again to ensure that new technology can seamlessly integrate with the existing systems to avoid disruption for the day-to-day operations. So again, it's important to thoroughly evaluate the compatibility of the new technology with their existing systems and plan for any necessary modifications or upgrades so that the integration process is smooth. So there are many challenges, but these are the ones which stand out for me. Again, to help businesses overcome these challenges, it is important to have a clear plan in place for the technology adoption. This plan should include like detailed analysis of business objectives, identifying the skill gaps, evaluation of the impact for the entire organization, and also thorough evaluation of the compatibility with the new with the existing technologies that I have in house.
Thank you, Aruna. I think that was a fascinating answer, and especially the fact that you touched upon the key aspects that are required for adopting any new technology, which is the people and the process, and also the fact that the use case is very critical. Sometimes, unless the right use case is picked up, it may become very challenging if existing processes are not in place or the skill set, as you mentioned, are not there. So thank you for your answer. Then the next question which I had in mind was about some of the projects that you worked on and where you have leveraged emerging technologies to help companies achieve their business outcomes.
Sure. So that one project that really stands out for me is actually working with Citizens of Great Barrier Reef. Citizens of Great Barrier Reef are a non-profit organization really trying to see how they can help conserve the Great Barrier Reef, right? So Dell has partnered with them. They actually have this annual citizen science initiative that collects all the data, like broad reconnaissance data from the Great Barrier Reef. The images are actually captured by tourists, scientists, divers, like anyone who goes there, they can actually take the picture, they can upload it, and then the images are analyzed by citizen scientists, like anyone across the world, right? Any person, helping scientists locate the key source reefs, like which are really providing that that life for the other reefs as well, which are really important for coral recovery. So we work to understand the specific requirements and developed a deep learning model that analyzes the images and segments the images to understand the coral cover of different species and the reef structure. And this analysis used to take about 7 to 8 minutes per image, and now it just takes less than a minute. So it actually makes the whole experience for the citizen scientists very enjoyable. At the same time, teaching them about the coral reefs and also some STEM education as well, right? This is an awesome project. It was an awesome initiative, and I'm really proud to be part of it.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I've heard about preservation of the Great Barrier Reef, and that's definitely something that we have to do. And the fact that you're able to use like the latest deep learning technology to quickly action out any changes that are happening based on images which are crowdsourced is really interesting. And it'll be good if a lot of businesses actually take up such use cases which are more oriented towards conservation of the natural resources of Earth. So that's really interesting, and I'll definitely read more about it.
I think definitely not just in the conservation space. I think technology has the potential in every industry, right? It's hard to say where it cannot be applied. If you think of any problem, there's technology which can really enhance how we can get outcomes from the problem, like how we can actually solve the problems.
Right. So the next thing that I had in mind is about this whole generative AI technology. As you would have seen and heard, there's a lot of news and a lot of kind of companies who are investing in it. And although there's a lot of hype around it, but I feel that there's definitely some promise around that technology, and OpenAI's ChatGPT has kind of changed the whole equation in terms of how people can leverage that technology, and even the users who cannot host or cannot train such big models can actually now start using it through API. So how do you think this technology is going to shape the future of businesses, especially for enterprises in the next few years?
Yeah, I think it's a great technology, right? As you said, it's available for everyone now. Everyone need not train those large models. And there's a lot of potential, right? It will really make employees very productive in multiple things. I think right now, in the current version, there are some challenges, and the next versions will actually be even more accurate and helping not just the enterprises, but I think overall, how it will change how we will live and how we ask things. If you think about early 2000s, when actually 2010s, right? When we actually getting this voice assistance, it was quite new, right? And people were saying like, will it work? Will it not work? I think the accuracy, a little bit of accuracy went to a large extent, and it has become very common now. And it took a while to get there, but I think now things are moving very fast. I've read a Gartner report somewhere which actually predicted this to happen 5 years later, but it happened 5 years earlier, right? So there's a lot of potential, and again, as I said, it's not just for the enterprises, for education or for many other industries, how they can actually use this. It's like a personal assistant to it, or they say like the co-pilot for a programmer, right? It has so many benefits, enormous benefits. We can't even think about how many ways we can use it. It really increases the productivity of us. As I think the knowledge graph that is required from humans, it's just increasing. Earlier, a little bit of knowledge was enough, and then it's just growing and growing. And all this all these tasks which need low intelligence will be automated, right? That's actually good, because we can actually focus on things which are really important and which really matter.
Right. Yeah, I'm personally pretty excited about it, primarily because we have been kind of trying to build chatbots which can perform tasks and answer questions. And I think this is all supervised sort of learning, where we have to collect and label a lot of data and kind of keep training and keep making it work for different use cases. And suddenly this ChatGPT model, and with the GPT series behind it, has really helped us to kind of accelerate in terms of being able to assist people and for different use cases, be it e-commerce or be it customer support or banking or finance. So the co-pilot is a very good reference that you made. I personally feel that if all of us kind of adopt it and make it work, we'll have co-pilots for every industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the next one, which kind of follows the previous one, is that I think there are a lot of misconception and wrong perceptions of people, especially about technology which are AI related or big data. So how do you think you would address them, and so that technology is kind of used and not misused?
Yeah, it's actually a great question, right? There's several misconceptions. I'll actually come into this ChatGPT thing. I think half of the population actually think it's great. We can actually do a lot of things. The other half are actually worried that they'll lose their jobs, or humans, like machines are replacing humans, or different things, right? Different misconceptions. I think that's the first one I saw, like especially with AI and these emerging technologies, machines replacing humans. It's not true. Yes, what is true in that is actually some tasks, like we spoke about just now, can be automated. Emerging technologies can also create new jobs and opportunities, right? For example, adoption of AI can free us employees to focus more on their tasks and create new jobs in areas like data analysis and machine learning. So it's not very true, right? It's not taking out jobs. I think it's creating more jobs, but in a different area, right? It's about adaptability of the people, like how do we actually adapt to the change and move on to the other thing. I think change is change is really complex, right? Like the people are scared about change, and that's one of the reasons that misconception actually comes from. And another big one I would say is emerging technologies are only relevant to particular industries, right? But in reality, emerging technologies can be used in any industry. Like I said earlier, I can't think of one where it cannot be used, from healthcare to manufacturing to retail. In fact, let me give you an example. Right? Like digital twins can be used in manufacturing to optimize the production. AI can be used to improve the patient outcomes in healthcare, or reduce the retail shrinkage. And the example I spoke about in conservation as well. Right? There are plenty of use cases which can be where the emerging technologies can be used to get to the outcomes.
Yeah, I think the use cases that you mentioned are something that we should solve since we have this technology and we understand the power of the technology, and that will help us bring in a lot of efficiency, and as you mentioned earlier, also free people up so that the repetitive, monotonous work can be handled and they can do more interesting stuff.
Yeah, other things I see as actually emerging technologies are very expensive. It's accessible only to large businesses, or even like they say, oh, this technology will be obsolete very soon, right? Many of them, people come up with different misconceptions. But I think it's very important for organizations to really look into what's on the horizon and really see how they can implement it. Otherwise, there's a chance that they'll be left behind.
Right. And I think people like you who are focused on this technology, I think it is very critical that experts like you and others kind of clear this misconceptions. As you told, yeah, it's not, the fear is that it will take away jobs, but I think people who understand this technology understand that it can create more jobs. So thank you for doing that. The next one, which is again something that comes up very often and is one of the key reasons why a lot of companies hesitate to adopt new technology, is that there are some ethical considerations that have to be made. And especially with deep learning models, you don't know really what goes in there and how is it giving a prediction. There's no interpretability so far. So how do you think companies can navigate these issues so that they can address any ethical issues that may come up and can manage it or put guardrails around it so that the technology can be used more properly?
Yeah, like you said, acknowledging that there is a challenge is important, right? Like just keeping in mind that there are ethical considerations we need to make. Primarily what I see is like data privacy and security, right? AI uses a lot of data, and businesses need to ensure that data they're handling is they're doing it responsibly, right? They need to be transparent with the customers about what data is being collected and how it is being used, and take steps to really ensure the data is actually stored securely and protect against any cybersecurity threats. Again, to navigate these issues, they can actually implement, again, clear data privacy and security policies. Like we said earlier, they need to have a clear guidelines on what business use case. Even having a clear data privacy and security policy will help, providing training to the employees on what's the best practice, how to handle the data, and work with the IT professionals to ensure that their system are really secure. Right? Most often what happens is, as an employee or if a developer or tester is doing something, they want to finish the work.
Yeah.
If you're not putting that clear policies in place, they just they make another copy, which might be at risk, right? So there are many of them. And another important one is actually how emerging technologies can perpetuate bias and discrimination, right? If they're not designed and implemented in a responsible way, it'll be a big challenge. So for example, AI algorithms may reflect the bias of their creators or the data that they're trained on, right? So if I'm actually if we don't have a diverse team to really look at if the data is diverse or not, or if the problem statement itself might not be diverse enough, which is actually addressing the population, right? You should really think this problem is actually addressing this population. So how do I actually get a diverse team which represents the population?
Right.
That's very important. So business really need to be aware of the potential bias in their technology, and we cannot really have or a model which is completely unbiased, right? It's not possible because inherently all humans are biased. So, but we need to be aware of it and take steps to mitigate those risks, right? And this may also involving, like I said, bringing in diverse teams to develop the technology, use diverse data sets to train the algorithm, and regularly auditing the algorithms to identify and address those biases. And the other one, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the other one I think is actually the biggest one is the environmental impact, which they have to consider. And these emerging technologies, the new technologies, they require a lot of power and everything, and can have a significant environmental impact, right? So the production of new technologies can generate like e-waste or consume large amounts of energy. So businesses need to be aware that these impacts, and they should take steps to minimize them, right? This may involve in designing products for recyclability or using renewable energy sources, and developing some more sustainable supply chains.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great answer. And I think the 2 points that you kind of touch upon, which I personally also believe that on the fact that people who are developing this technology, the developers or the ML engineers, the data scientists, I think there has to be an education for them also to understand that the data that they're using could already reflect the biases of the society, and different cultures may not be represented in that data. And when you are rolling out a model for the entire world, and let's say most of the data is from certain parts of the world, then it's not really reflecting the world as a whole, right? So definitely companies who are developing and adopting have to kind of take that into account and decide what kind of model they're going to use. And yeah, we cannot eliminate the bias, but as you mentioned, if we audit, if we test, and we put some guardrails around handling those biases, then it is possible. And the second one, I also believe that any technology that is coming up has to have a green theme, that it cannot harm or the environment more than what currently we're doing. And I hope that OpenAI and other companies who are building out such technology and spend massive amount of GPUs and in the cloud to train them will adopt greener and cleaner technologies to kind of train these models. So the next one is, I think you have a lot of experience, you work with a lot of companies, but I think personally for you, how would you measure the success of your work, and how would you kind of look at the impact that you have generated or created for businesses that use these technologies?
That's a very interesting question. So for me, my measure would be like, how did I get my customers to build something which actually is valuable for them, right? So when I say valuable for them, the measure from the customer side would be metrics like increased efficiency or productivity or revenue. So business can actually track the time saved by automating certain tasks, or increase in the sales, resulting in some personalized marketing techniques. These metrics can be compared like pre-adoption or a baseline to gauge the impact on emerging technologies on business performance. So another metric is actually customer satisfaction. All right, new technologies can help the businesses improve the customer experience by providing more personalized and effective service. By measuring customer satisfaction through surveys or feedback, again, businesses can evaluate the impact of these technologies. So for me, because I work with these customers across, it's important for me to get the customer's success, right? My measure of success is actually measured by the success of my customers. So we always think about how to give the best outcomes for them. And as I said earlier at the beginning of this session, we always start with the use case, right? What problem we are solving and what is the need for solving that. These are some of the quantitative metrics, but there are also some qualitative metrics as well, right? In terms of the citizens of Great Barrier Reef, for example, there it is more quantitative, right? How do we actually help the scientists give this knowledge quickly so that they can accelerate the research process to preserve or protect the Great Barrier Reef? So there are different ways we measure, and I'm a big advocate for adopting new technologies. So I always think about how do I actually get the customers to understand what is possible, right, with the new technologies. Sometimes we actually look at these technologies at a very narrow lens, like AI, data, IoT, and all these verticals. But I actually feel that to get to a business outcome, you actually need all these technologies together to work in tandem, right, to get to an outcome. So we need IoT, we need data, we need AI, we need metaverse. All these different technologies should actually work together. Successful if I can actually convince the customers that this is what they have to do.
Thank you, Arun. I think definitely the work that you're doing, and especially the ones that you mentioned, I think it is very critical to kind of help people be successful with technology, because a lot of people have a lot of hope and dreams that their life will get better with newer technologies. And as we have progressed over the years, we've seen that happen, right? The mobile phone is one such example. Yeah. So thank you for doing that work. Then we come to the last kind of question, and I think this is very useful and it will be very critical for people who follow us to understand what advice would you give to businesses who are just starting to explore or evaluate such technologies. What advice will you give to them to kind of, or what map or navigation would you, what guidance would you give to them?
That's interesting. And I think big or small, I think it's a similar one. And I come back again to the same thing. I think I reiterated a few times earlier and I'm doing it again, like start with a clear business use case, right? So before investing in any technology, right, not just emerging technology, it's important to have that understanding of the business problem you're trying to solve and how the technology can help. And start by identifying a specific pain point or an opportunity in your business and explore how these technologies can help address that. And then build a cross-functional team, right? Successful adoption and implementation of any technology requires collaboration across different departments and functions within the organization. So build a cross-functional team that includes representatives from all the different departments, maybe operations or finance or executives, other areas that are important to look that business, that's important for the business to ensure that everyone is actually aligned or on the same page, right? And working towards a common goal. And then start small, right? Don't really think of boiling the ocean. Start very, very small, a small project, and iterate based on what you learn, right? Every project will have a big learning. So if you really start small, get some value out of it, start a very small project where you can get value off, right? Not something which is like a POC or a POC, but start something where you get value off, learn from that, take a bigger one. And then as you do that, you actually learn more and more about the process and the people and the culture, so you can actually be more successful. And the last one I would say is actually monitor and measure your success, right? Set clear metrics of success and monitor your progress over time. As I said, like the small, a little bigger and more, as you do that, you actually see that impact of technology on your business and adjust it based on how you're changing. And till it's an iterative process, right? It's not something which you do once and leave it. It's an iterative process. You have to achieve till you achieve your desired outcome, or actually that changes as well. The target changes all the time. So it's just to ensure that you're achieving your outcomes set in the business case. Just do it iteratively, learn it.
Thank you so much, Aruna, for your valuable advice. And it was really interesting to talk to you and learn from you and share it with the community. Thank you for spending time with us and giving us such valuable insights. And I would kind of, from our entire Engatica family, wish you the best so that you keep doing what you're doing and achieve much more success. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for that, Ramesh. Have a great day.